La vida no es justa, ¿verdad, amiguito? Mientras unos nacen para darse festines, otros pasan su vida en la oscuridad. Mendigando migajas.
My first question is, Scar has one of the most iconic Disney villain songs, which is Be Prepared, which has to be changed because of the realism of this movie. I'd like to know, what did you think of the scene when they pitched it to you, and how did you feel when you recorded?
Yeah, I felt great. You know, I was recording with Hans Zimmer in Abbey Road. So it was a very, it's kind of an amazing occasion, and and this great song in Scar's journey in the story, this really amazing kind of turning point for him in the story, and this decision that he's made, to take everything to this incredible level, to escalate things to this terrible place, and trying to sort of uncover and unpick why he's got to that place, how he's got to that place, what his psychology is, and to do that within the context of this kind of realism, that we're sort of playing with here, was great fun, actually.
Mm-hmm. Disney villains have received a lot of love from fans. Why do you think is that? Why do you think Disney villains have so much love, and particularly Scar? What are his strength points that get to connect with people, although he's pretty twisted?
Yeah. Well, there's a few things. I think first of all, there's the fact that he's such an interesting villain, and he's so terrible, and what he does is so terrible. Just his behavior. But there's also the fact that, in its rendering, in Scar's rendering through Jeremy Irons, Jeremy Irons created, and with the animation, just how he looked and felt, just created this wonderful character, So for me, it was great that there was such an incredible basis for the character, and so you kind of are able to investigate it, I think, to say, well, here is this great thing, and I wonder if there's any other aspect of it, whilst we look at the kind of realism, that could also be interesting to explore in this wonderful character.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Irons did a pretty Shakespearean voice for Scar, and did you want it to look for anything in particular to give your Scar his own personality, adding to the legacy of the character? Yeah,
I suppose I wanted to kind of, I wasn't really looking at either doing something that was either similar or different to what Jeremy Irons had done. I just loved that as a separate thing. So I didn't revisit, for example, the film. I didn't watch but that's not to say that I wasn't intimately aware of it. But you know what I mean? I know the film so well that it didn't matter really whether I watched it again or not. I know it that well. So, but I definitely wanted to see. I didn't make any decisions really about how Scar was going to sound or anything. I just wanted to kind of uncover what I felt about the psychology, and then play the scene and see what came out.
Mm-hmm. At first, the design of Scar had a very mixed reactions from fans, because he wasn't the one that didn't look a lot like the one in the animated film. I'd like to know, how do you leave these projects that like this one or Doctor Strange, that have like a fan base so invested that they analyze every detail, and that the slightest change is like World War III for them?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, you've just got to watch the film, like all of the kind of sort of talk about something is kind of meaningless, because, it only really makes sense, any decision makes sense in the context of the whole thing. And that's something that you do have to decide for yourself when you go and you sit in the cinema, if you choose to, and watch something and engage with it, So all of the decisions and the anger and the shouting, which is all the kind of, the internet is a funny place, because it can be so it can be very helpful, and you know, we all know the arguments about it, and social media and whatever. But and at the same time, it can be a place that you can't really have constructive thought and engagement. But I would say with something like this, and with any kind of fan-based thing, what is always important in the end, and everybody knows that really, even the people who are sort of, you know, but they know in the end that you just go and watch the film, and then you might have a completely different idea when that 2 hours later than you had for the 3 months when you were screaming about something.
Debes ocupar tu lugar en el ciclo de la vida.